The Thalidomide Trust was set up in 1973. We're a charity set up initially as a way of distributing money, which came from distillers as part of the damages settlement. But it's become a great deal more than that. We're a very unique community because the drug was only taken for a very limited window of just a few years. So we're all roughly the same age. We've all got stories. And all those stories are unique, but have similar elements to them.
Apparently, the day I was born, when my mum did get to see me, her words to me were, "I'll make you independent if it's the last thing I do."
My mother was told when they carried me through after I was born that I was thalidomide.
I've been disabled since day one. With each thalidomide, we all live different lives.
Though I am different, but to be able to lead as an independent life as possible, but all that takes finance to do that.
I'd be totally lost without the trust, to be honest.
To know that there's an organisation there that will listen to everything you've got to say. They're always on the end of the phone, you know, if I have difficulties financially or medical advice. I was born with facial palsy on the right side of my face, which the muscles and none of the muscles, tendons work on that side of my face. You know, for years I knew my problems were as a result of thalidomide, but because I never talked about it, and nobody ever talked about it to me, I sort of kept it to myself. I became a beneficiary 3.5 years ago. It's actually quite refreshing to know that you can actually talk about it to people. I'm quite staggered at the amount of help I've got from the Trust. I've gone from all my salary spent on renting a flat in a pretty poor state to now being able to buy a house, furnish that house and do the necessary building work, buying a car, and obviously getting my dental implants done. Now being able to taste food, bite an apple for the first time. Just the taste on your palate makes all the difference. I've always dreamt of having a house with a garden, my own garden, that I can just, you know, cut the lawn, you know, and having a nice house that's, you know, plenty of room for me and my dog.
It was upsetting and losing Trevor, but then having to face how you're practically going to organise your life and deal with things. Once the boys go back off to university full time, then yes, I will be left here for the first time in my life on my own. The Trust has offered me financial support, emotional support and practical support. I need finance in order to make the adaptations and the necessary alterations to my home and my life to keep me as independent as possible for as long as possible. My son has done an architect degree and he knew my needs and he was able to advise the architect of certain aspects of the build that were purely disability related. I would be able to live comfortably in my own home and do as much for myself as I possibly can. To feel that this is my home because we've looked at future-proofing the home for the long term.
Well, a lot of thalidomiders are actually grandparents now, but I was a late developer and became a dad at 49. My mother said he'll never have a job, he'll never get married. She lived long enough to see her grandkids and she loved them to bits. If Angela was my full-time carer, it wouldn't be the same. You know, she's like me wife. I don't want her to be my carer. I got a loan from the Trust to buy this house. So the Trust gave me a loan, which initially was a 10-year loan. But then Diageo put more money into the Trust 2 years ago. So it went down from 10 years to 6 years. So the house is paid for now, thank goodness. So next year I'll be able to replace the van, hopefully. When I was a teenager, all my mates would go to the beach and they'd have these all-night beach parties, it was completely inaccessible because any wheelchair on the sand, it's just impossible. Even with a powered wheelchair, it wouldn't go through the sand. I did some research and I found this four-wheel drive wheelchair, like an off-roader, and it basically goes over any surface. Wet sand, dry sand, snow, it's amazing.
No one had any idea how long we were going to live. It was all focused on helping us as children and helping us to live those early years of our lives. The Trust has been able to respond to those challenges and actually to be much more proactive and thinking ahead and anticipating the future.